Welcome back. Now, as said from before, we investigate the shocking revelations by Nigerian investigative journalist David Hundeyi, who recently exposed an attempt to bribe him with 800,000 naira to smear the Dangote Refinery. According to Hundeyi, the bribe was offered by a foreign NGO seeking to tarnish the image of one of Africa's largest and most ambitious industrial projects. The story underscores the length at which entities might go to manipulate public perception and also critical role of journalists in the media.
So in an era where misinformation can easily sway public opinion, Hundeyi's refusal to accept the bribe and his commitment to ethical journalism are commendable. But these incidents raises important questions about the integrity of information circulating in the public sphere and the pressures faced by journalists in their pursuit of the truth. The Dangote Refinery, a symbol of economic progress for Nigeria, has now become the vocal point of a sinister plot that could have far-reaching implications.
So as we unravel on both sides this story, it's essential to consider the broader context in which these events are unfolding. What does this attempt mean, and how exactly did this interaction go between our guest today and whichever NGO this was? We now have joining us the journalist himself, David Hundeyi. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, David.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. David, first off, we saw your very lengthy X post up on X, and it was very alarming, to say the least. 800,000 naira for a story on the Dangote Refinery. I'm going to come back to that figure, but first give us your account of how you were approached by this INGO.
Okay, so someone reached out to me on Twitter, X as they call it now, with a direct message asking if I'd be open to doing an analysis piece on the Dangote Refinery. Now, that in itself is not such a rare occurrence. It's quite fairly common for actors within several media and NGO spaces to reach out to me asking if I'm open to, or if I'm available for a commission piece. It's quite a common thing. But in this instance, something about the wording of the way this message was presented sort of struck me as awe. It almost seemed as if, well, not almost, it seemed as if the person didn't want this to become public. The fact that there was some sort of communication between us, and it almost seemed like it was sort of a hush-hush thing. And if you're open to this, there was lots of that insinuation that there's something about this that is in some way secret or implied to be secret. So I accepted the offer. I said, okay, cool, send me an email. So they sent me a brief. And when I opened the brief, which I shared the document with you, it then very quickly became clear why this communication was done in such a shady manner, because unlike a regular brief for a commission piece, where essentially the only thing that is presented to the writer is maybe a suggested headline and maybe one or two paragraphs of suggested themes or whatever in the story. This was a full and comprehensive outline of what the story was meant to be, who the sources in the story are meant to be, how those sources should be cited, how certain things should be framed and worded. This was a story where I was essentially just supposed to color in the blanks, fill in the gaps, and put my name on it. And it also became very clear that this story was intended to use the language of environmental activism and concern about climate change and Nigeria's energy transition commitments and all those related things, to essentially discredit the existence of Dangote Refinery, to say that this refinery basically shouldn't exist, that something is wrong with the existence of this refinery. So I'm sure you're going to show the viewers the first line of this brief document, where something along the lines of following the fire incident at Dangote Refinery, this raises questions about blah, 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 especially in the light of Nigeria's energy transition, yada, yada, yada. So